I'm Vampire Preacher. If you have been here more than once, if you've been coming to the stream for some time, you might notice something. The brick wall's gone. What? That's right. Begone the days of the brick wall. Instead, behold my stuff.
Behold my stuff.
That's right. We've taken some time. We've redone the whole stream setup, and honestly, I think it's for the better. I like it. We got better lighting in here. We've got more room. We can do a lot more two-player stuff, which is fun for my editor, Retro Vixen, and I. And if you haven't been here in a minute, hey, guess what? Your boy got affiliate. That's right. It was quite a journey, but affiliate Vamp in the house now. It's gonna be a whole new body. It's gonna be the same shit, and you know it's. So today we will be bringing to you the complete Black Widow wave of Marvel Legends. But yes, today we're gonna be giving you, yes, you, dear viewer, all the Black Widow goodness you could handle. So, without further ado, you didn't come here to listen to me talk. You came here for toys. So let's get into that, shall we? Now, as we do on this channel, I'm going to try and do some... kind of pace it out. Not do everything all just comic book, followed by everything MCU. We're going to try and split it up. MCU, comic, MCU, comic. After all, we've got 4 MCU figures and 3 comic book figures today for a total of 7 figures. And, of course, a build figure who's also a comic book figure. So, works. Technically, we've got 4 and 4. But, we'll start off with an MCU figure then. And as a big guy myself, I can say, it still fits.
Still fits.
Yes, our first figure of the day is Red Guardian. So, let's get into it, shall we? We, of course, have the Red Guardian figure here in our window pane front. We've got an artistic rendering of our sheriff from Stranger Things on the side. Same artistic rendering on the back. All about Alexei. And inside... yeah, what you see is what you get. Not getting a whole lot. The background is the Black Widow themed background. It's a weird couple pieces of tape in here. I have no idea why. They hold absolutely nothing. They're just there. But, first things first, we've got that big ol' arm for the Crimson Dynamo, who is going to be our build figure of the day. As you can see there, if you read right up top, Crimson Dynamo. It says it right on the tin. Inside, we've got our unmasked Red Guardian, which, not gonna lie to you guys, you all know I am a big fan of unmasked anything and everything. I like all my figures to have an unmasked version. That being said, I also like to have the option of having them masked. And having Alexei here only be unmasked kind of seems like a waste. Give me a helmeted version and the non-helmeted version. I know there are customizers out there trying to make helmeted versions using Captain America heads and repainting them, putting the Brothor beard on them, but honestly, let's get into our figure here. So, Alexei does have a shield. Now, it's very reminiscent of the Captain America shields, but it's not the same. It's actually a different mold. So, that's nice that they actually went and did that for us. That's cool. Let's get into our articulation first, shall we? For our neck articulation, Alexei, ooh. Oh man, I really... Hooper, why can't you look down further? And he can barely look up. I mean, barely. Yikes. I got... Oh, man, they went back to an old style of neck articulation for him. That's weird. Why would you go back? For our shoulder articulation. Alright. Better than a T-pose. I'll take it. I'll take it. We, of course, have the bicep swivels. For our double-jointed elbows. Ah! We were so close. I was hoping I was going to get to say it. Nope. Nope, it's not. If it weren't for the gauntlet here, Alexei might have had a good flex, but he doesn't. He does not. I don't want to hear it. Not one word of it. He has the standard in and out wrist articulation. Although his, oh! He doesn't on both hands. Ladies and gentlemen, on the left hand, we have the sword cut. Interesting. Might make it a little bit easier for him to do kind of a shield throw motion, as he is the Soviet answer to Captain America. He's pretty much Captain Russia. So, yeah. He should be able to do a shield throw with that hand. As I was saying before, though, the flash on the back of his hand here is preventing it from going any further back. So that kind of stinks. He does have an ab crunch, which goes so far forward and so far back. He's not going tremendously back, but he's going a decent amount. He does have the waist cut on him, hidden very well by the pouches on the belt. Very nice. He's got the hip articulation, giving us not bad. Not bad. Not bad at all. That's some decent hip articulation. He, of course, has the thigh cuts, as I was messing with before when I wanted to make his pouches line up, because that's just my own personal weirdness. For his double-jointed knees, it's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. He's got a little bit too much flash here, namely the calves and a little bit on the thighs, most of the calves, making it so he can't go all the way back. And I could tell as I did that already, he's got a boot cut. Yes, we've got a boot cut. For our ankle articulation, he's got the rocker ankles that can go a painful degree in, a disturbing degree out. A pretty good deal forward. That's actually not bad. And can go pretty much all the way on point back. Now, as a note with the shield, it is a flip peg shield. So one side is the handle that clips onto the arm. The other side, when you flip it down, is a peg, and I noticed the hole in his back, so you can just kind of push this right into there. Have him with the shield down his back, which might actually be how I display old Hooper here. We're coming in about 6 1/4 inches, so he's an alright height. Not fantastic, but he's alright. He seems about movie appropriate, being 6 1/2 or 6 1/4 inches tall. All in all, is he a fantastic figure? Not so much. Could they have done better? Yeah, the neck joint's just bad. The lack of a helmeted head is... Why, Hasbro? Why didn't you give us an extra head? A couple sets of extra hands would be great. Hell, you know that Captain America hand you guys have of him throwing the shield, that you could even put the shield on from the original Abomination wave? Well, the more recent comic book Abomination wave, since there's now multiple Abomination waves, with the Gamerverse one that's supposed to be coming in like 2 weeks. Give us that hand. Give us the shield throw hand. Something. Anything. This feels kind of lame. Hooper deserves better. If I have to give it a rating, I'm going to give him a 7. No, you know what? No, he doesn't deserve a 7. He's getting a 6. I wanted to give him a 6. He's getting a 6. The lack of any accessories besides the shield, an extra head, anything, really drove him down. He's this close to being a 5 in my book, but I'm going to give him a 6 because he's not offensively bad. Is he great? No. Is he offensively bad? Also no. And because we did some rearranging on the desk, I don't really have a off-camera place to put him, so I think I'm going to just start lining up our figures over here on the side, because we got so much real estate now to work with here. We can put all of our build-to-figure pieces up here, all of our already opened pieces over here. It's going to be good times. Well, let's keep going, shall we? After all, we've got our first MCU figure done. Let's get our first comic book figure done. And this is a figure I've been wanting for a very, very long time. Ladies and gentlemen, Brock Rumlow, aka Crossbones. Now, you might remember Crossbones from the MCU in the 2 whole movies he was in. Yeah, 2. He was in Captain America Civil War and Captain America Winter Soldier. That was it. And he exploded. He exploded. And he was done. But he's been in comics for a lot longer and hasn't exploded. So we've got him in his comic book glory right here. So let's get into it, shall we? For Mr. Rumlow, we've got, of course, our window pane front, our artistic rendering on the side, the same artistic rendering on the back, where he looks actually really cool here. Yeah. And as we had on the last one as well, I didn't even mention, but we've got it, the whole series of figures, which we will be doing each and every one of these, even though one of them doesn't have a build-to-figure piece, because of who the non-build-to-figure piece character is. I noticed something else here as well. Speaking of going back to old styles, anybody notice something here? The box is the old style of Marvel Legends packaging. The clamshell isn't over the characters, it's attached. That's weird. Inside the packaging, we've got not the same backing. This has, like, all of the different superhero logos. Spider-Man, Thor, Captain America, Hawkeye, Ant-Man. It's just got Avengers logos everywhere. Doctor Strange is in there. Weird. We've got the other arm for the Crimson Dynamo. We've got 2 Nerf guns here. Yeah, Hasbro, I know exactly what these are. I have this Nerf gun. Don't you try and lie to me. Why the fuck you lying? I believe we've also seen these with a previous Cable figure. Yeah, they're Nerf shotguns. These cool sci-fi pistols, which I don't know why Crossbones would have anything other than just big old guns. But sure, I'll take it. Anyway, the gentleman doesn't have big guns like he's supposed to. He does have a ponytail? Alright. Now, I know that's the back of his bandana. I'm well aware. But let's be honest here, it's a ponytail. Before we even get into the figure's articulation, I will say something I like, and you guys all know it. Usable Hulksters. And he's got them. Look at that. Looky there. Bam. You can actually use the Hulksters on his body. That is some good Hulkster action. Which just makes me all kinds of happy. Now, he is a big old boy. He's not a big beefy. No, he's not even close to being a big beefy. But he is a big old boy. He's using the Hyperion mold. That's obvious from the twin pegs in his back. We've seen that before, specifically, and most recently, well, I'm not sure about most recently, but I know most notably we saw them on the various Venoms that we've had. So yes, he's on our big mold, the Hyperion mold. I'm not sure how much new tooling got done for him, if really any. This just looks like a modified version of the headband from Shang-Chi for the, as I called it before, ponytail. Looks like just a different paint job on a very generic face. Definitely the Hyperion buck for the head and for the leg, or for the torso and for the legs. For the arms, they're not quite the Herc arms. I'm trying to figure out whose arms these are. The hands are just painted. I think we've seen these on the AIM Brute before. Maybe the pouches are new. I know the Hulksters are new. So, yeah, there's that. But I think even the boots are reused from the Hydra or AIM Brute. So yeah, this is pretty much just a reuse in a figure. But let's check him out anyway. He can look down actually pretty well. And can look up amazingly well. Especially for a dude that just is Rudy Tooty point and shooty. For his shoulder articulation, wow, we're getting a lot better than a T-pose. Alright, good on you. We've, of course, got the bicep swivels. For the double-jointed elbows. I know it looks like it, but if we bring it down to where it's supposed to be, he's... You know what? I'll call it. It's good enough for me. It's good enough for me. It's good enough for you guys. I'm hoping you're loving it as much as I am, but it's that good flex. Which, by the way, if you're here live on the stream, did you know that emote's already in the process of being approved? Yes, our tier 1 emote is, so that you could say it with me, kids, that good flex. As for his hand articulation, there is hand articulation. And it's the sword cut. It is the up and down sword cut here. So, is that the way for both? It is! It's that way for both hands. It's for that reason I think the hands might actually be new tooling. The hands and the belts. It's all the new tooling we're getting out of this. Maybe the head? Maybe? For our torso articulation. Wow, he actually bends over really well. And ladies, he is bending over backwards for you. Huh. Color me impressed. He's doing a lot better than Venom did on the same body. We, of course, have the waist swivel there. I'm not going to turn it too much so that we're not going breaking these Hulksters he's got here. Speaking of, let's look into that hip articulation. Which, let's remove those space lasers. They seem to be impeding on it. It's a decently wide angle for hip articulation. We, of course, have the thigh cut. It'd be weird if we didn't. The double-jointed knees. Ooh, Mr. Rumlow. That's not getting you out of a knee replacement surgery. That's bad. Eesh. For the second figure today, we've got boot cuts. Woo woo!
Hey, that's my line!
For our ankle articulation, we've got a decent degree in, a fairly disturbing degree out. Can go up a alright degree, and can go back pretty much on point. And, of course, let's get those space lasers back in before we tell you just how tall of a figure you're looking at here. And then give him his Nerf gun so he can go out and be the king of the Nerf war. He is a tall boy, too. He is just shy, and I mean just shy of 7 inches tall. So he is towering over poor little Hooper here. Look at that. That's quite a height difference. I know Crossbones is big, but dang, he is huge here. So, all in all, what do I think of Mr. Rumla? Well, this is the first time we've seen him in the comic book version since the Ares wave, which was back in 08, 09. I do not remember which of the two. It's been a minute. And that was a Walmart exclusive wave. It was super duper hard to get. It was not an easy figure to come by. I really wanted him to be able to do the pose that's on the tin. Really wanted that. However, is he a bad figure? No. No, he's definitely not. He's fun. He's good fun. I was happy when they gave us the MCU version of Crossbones, thinking that was the only way I was going to get him without paying absurd amounts of money. No, they did re-release him once after the initial release. He was part of an SDCC exclusive multi-pack for the Thunderbolts, which, good luck getting your hands on. It's stupid expensive. You don't want to do that. Yeah, it comes with a minigun, but honestly, I'm gonna give him Deathlock's minigun and call it a day, instead of having him with the Nerf guns here. I'm gonna give him Deathlock's minigun, call it a day. If I have to give him a rating, he's gonna be a 6. Hear me out. Now, as much as I'm praising him, like I said during the review, he's pretty much straight mold reuse for 90% of the figure. 90% of this figure is just mold reuse, which I'm not having. He's fun. He's cool. I like having him in my collection. But you just took the Hyperion mold, did it in black again for like the 18th time. Oh boy, big surprise there. Gave him the same Nerf guns that you already gave before. Gave him some weird space guns. Gave him some new pouches with Hulksters. And maybe a new head and called it a day. It's kind of lazy is what I'm saying. It's kind of lazy. Hasbro, it's kind of lazy and you know it. So he's going to get a 6. If you did a couple more things for him, if you gave him that minigun, which you already have from Deathlock, maybe you'd have gotten higher. But being straight mold reuse like he is, he's cool if you want to add him to your collection, but I'm not busting my ass to try and get him. That being said, I like having him, of course, because it's Crossbones. I'll probably put him with don't know if I'm going to put him with Hydra figures or if I'm going to put him with Deadpool from the times when they... No, wait. Sorry, that was Taskmaster and Warpath, not Crossbones. Disregard. It's probably just going with Hydra then. Or maybe some Thunderbolts. Maybe. Moving on. So, we've done an MCU, we've done a comic. Let's get back to the MCU with Yelena Balanov. I've been waiting for a Yelena Balanov figure for a very long time, as the previous time that we saw Yelena Balanov in plastic was one of the original waves of Marvel Legends. She was a chase variant for the very first Black Widow Marvel Legends figure. She did not look great. It's pretty much just a different head on the exact same Widow body. It was a little bit rough. But we've got her again in plastic. So let's see what we've got in front of us, shall we? Of course, we've got our window pane front. We've got our artistic rendering of Yelena on the side. And the back, we've got the complete rogues gallery of everyone we're going to be reviewing today. Inside the box, ooh, there's even more to this figure than I thought there was. Man. When we get to it, you guys know what he's going to be. You know what he's going to be. I'm not going to say it yet, because he's not yet. He's not there. But let's get the back piece onto the Crimson Dynamo. Whew. Our shoulder pieces. Huh. Do we have different size shoulders to help us put it on correctly? We do. And those shoulder pads kind of snap in there, so that they just articulate a little bit, but so that they're not going to be falling off on you. Ooh, you guys can look at him and you can tell the tier 2 emotes that have been submitted and are pending approval. They are going to describe what this boy is. For our backing, we've of course got the just very standard Black Widow backing. We of course have Yelena's figure here, and I'm noticing a thing they did with this figure that we saw recently. On a previous figure, specifically the Black Widow Deluxe Edition figure. And that's the new Hulksters, which, if you're going to keep on giving these to us, please do, Hasbro. Please, please do. We also have 2 additional hands. With the black half gloves here. So we have 2 punching fist hands and 2 gun holding hands. And before we get into the articulation on this figure, I am going to be right back. Alright, and we're back. See? That wasn't too painful, was it? So, for the figure that we've got here, Yelena Balanov, let's explore some of this articulate. Wait, what? Okay, but wait, what?
NANI?
Alright, so if you guys were here for my Black Widow and Stanley short unboxing before we played Spider-Man a few weeks ago, you'll know that I was really happy that we got guns that actually go into Hulksters here. And how happy that makes me, just like with our Crossbones figure here, to have Hulksterable guns. And that's great. We've got one that goes in here. This side is throwing knives that cannot be removed. These are very permanent throwing knives. And nowhere on this figure is there a second holster. Hasbro, why do you do this to me? Why? Why do you do this to me, Hasbro? You make me so happy. So happy. And then you just make me so sad. You do so many good things, and then you just trash them. Hasbro. Come on, man. Come on, guys. Come on. Before I lose my mind there, let's get into the articulation. So, for her neck articulation. Oh god, no, she's got the horrid giraffe neck. Look at this. Look at this god-awful giraffe neck. She's got the same stupid ball like Red Guardian does. The old style. Why? Oh, why? That's as far down as she can look. That's as far up as she can look. And she has this horrific giraffe neck at all times. Oh, no. Hasbro, why? For our shoulder articulation, we're getting about a T-pose out of her. No bicep swivels, single jointed elbows that, at least they go more than 90 degrees. Can't say that for every figure. Of course, we only have a waist swivel and no waist cut, no ab crunch, because, I don't know, Hasbro hates money, and they're consumers, and just doesn't like female figures, even a female figure-led line. She has the sword cuts, at least for the gun holding hands. She's got the standard in and out wrist articulation for the fist hands. So that's alright, that's one good thing. For her torso ab swivel, that's as far forward as she's going, and that's as far back. If you didn't see it because of her arm in the way, if she went so far each way, that's back, that's forward, that's it. She's got a little bit of side to side, but not a ton. No waist cut at all, no ab crunch. For our hip articulation, well, at least she's got that. It's probably the best that we've seen today. That's a good thing. We, of course, have the thigh cuts right here. If you can see them a little bit closer because the all-white outfit's kind of breaking that up. The double-jointed knees, which can actually go all the way back. That's actually really good. Hasbro, you are all over the place on this one. No boot cuts. For our rocker ankles, we can go an absolutely disturbing degree in. A tremendously painful degree out. I mean, look at that. That is almost 100% turned around. That is, oof, that's painful. She's got a decent amount of forward leg articulation, or ankle articulation, and can go, yeah, all the way on point back. She had better be able to, having graduated from the Red Room. As for how tall this figure is, Yelena is coming in, wow, under 6 inches. Under? She is a hair under to exactly 6 inches. Oof. Meaning she is over an inch smaller, or at least an inch smaller, than Crossbones here. All in all, as a figure, what do I think of Miss Yelena Balanov? I think I'm a little bit disappointed. Yelena is one of my favorite Dark Avengers. Actually, in a recent photo I did to be put up on my Twitter, I made a custom Yelena using an old Black Widow figure of mine, and I think I actually used the old Sue Storm head, not the new, most recent Super Skrull one, but the Walgreens Sue Storm head, to make a Yelena Balanov with 2 Uzis in her hands. It actually looked really good. This figure... She's a 5. She's a 5. Well, she might have some great leg articulation with the double-jointed knees and the hip articulation. She at least has the usable Hulkster on one side of her. The other side is unusable throwing knives, which is just baffling. I cannot look past this giraffe neck. It is just so bad. I cannot look past that. That is a really bad neck. And Hasbro, y'all need to start doing double-jointed elbows for your female figures. You did it for Overwatch. I know you can do it. So do it. Give us double-jointed elbows. Give us bicep swivels. Give us ab crunches with the ab swivels. And then you don't need to do the stupid waist cut. And we'll all be really, really happy. This doesn't make me happy. It's not trash, but it's close. It's close. She almost got binned. She's close, but she's not quite to the point where she's getting binned. But she's up there. She's up there. For our next figure, of course, if we're going in the order of MCU comic, we just did MCU, so let's get our next comic book figure. I know it's one that most people are going to be... Actually, I will save him for later. I was going to give you guys one to be really excited about. No. We will leave our hype until the end. We're going to leave the hype until the end of this train. So, for now, instead of giving you what you all want to see, we're going to give you Spy Master. That's who you wanted, right? No, nobody gave a damn about Spy Master. But here he is. So, let's see what we've got. So, of course, we've got our window pane front, our artistic rendering on the side, and the smallest blurb about a character that no one knows about. An undercover operative skilled in sabotage. Spy Master possesses superb fighting capabilities. That's great. Who the hell are you, buddy? And, of course, our Rogues Gallery. And inside, we've got a Bucky cap. Oh, boy. We haven't seen this mold a bajillion times. We have our Crimson Dynamo leg, aka the only reason anybody is buying you, Spy Master, for this leg. And a red sci-fi pistol. Which, if you all want to be upset, tell me whose is whose. Go ahead. I'll wait. Because if it wasn't for the fact that the one is red, you would have absolutely no idea which one was his and which one was Crossbones. And that's because Hasbro cheaped out and gave us the same pistol twice in one wave. One's in silver and one's in red. Come on, man.
Come on!
So speaking of mold reuse, Spymaster. It's a Bucky cap. We've seen this since before 2011. It's an oft reused... What in the world is on your head, buddy? I don't know if mine got printed weird or something, but he's got a weird thing on his head. Whatever. So, it's a Bucky Cat mold. We're not going to see anything new here, except for the belt, and I think even the head, unless there's... Maybe the head's new. Beyond that, it's the same thing we've had for ages with the Bucky Cat mold. Our neck articulation, actually pretty good looking down. Pretty great looking up. T-pose from the arms. Bicep swivels. Double jointed elbows. I feel like at just the right angle he could, but he's not. He's not giving it to us. I don't want to see it. He's not giving us. No. Not one word of it. We won't even say its name. He's got the standard in and out wrist articulation for both wrists, including his trigger finger one. Pretty great forward torso articulation. And pretty good back. We, of course, have the waist swivel for our thighs, our hip articulation. Oof, that is not great. Our hip articulation is not so good. We do have the thigh cut, though. The double jointed knees, which can actually go back a pretty good degree. He's, of course, got boot cuts on him. The rocker ankles that can go a pretty great degree in. Yeah, I'd call it a disturbing degree in and a painful degree out. Actually, it's a more disturbing degree out than anything. That just looks awful. Pretty decent forward ankle articulation and alright backward ankle articulation. At least he also has a usable Hulkster. Hooray. Which I know Bucky Cap had usable Hulksters as well, but they went away from them for some time. Nick Fury's weren't usable. Maria Hill's weren't usable. So, anytime I can get a usable Hulkster is a time for me to celebrate. He's coming in about 6¼ inches tall. So he is taller than Yelena. He is smaller than Tasky. Crossbones. I've got Taskmaster on the brain for some reason. And he's right at about the same height as Red Guardian. So, what kind of a rating do I give this figure? Do y'all really need to ask? It's not going to be a good one. It's straight mold reuse with a new belt. Maybe a new head. He's a 4. He's a 4. He's an absolute 4. He's just the Bucky Cap. He's nothing that we haven't seen. This mold needed to be retired a decade ago. A decade ago. At the very least, 5 years ago, they should have stopped using this same mold. It's insulting. It's insulting that Hasbro keeps on selling us the same thing over and over again. The only reason why I even bought this figure is for this leg. Other than that, I wouldn't care. I would have never even bought it. Not a chance. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? If he was a comic book figure, and a disappointing one at that, then that means that we've got an MCU figure. It's her wave, after all. Let's take a look at Black Widow, shall we? Now, this is not the only Black Widow figure that we're getting. We also have the deluxe edition one that we got for the movie. We recently got the Deadly Origins Black Widow, which has been remade for me into my newest Colleen, well, my only Colleen wing. And we've got the 90s backpack gray outfit with the half jacket thing that everybody wore in the 90s for some reason or another. We got that one coming. That one's a Walmart exclusive. The Deadly Origins one is a Target exclusive. First things first, I was about to just take her out of here. We've got our window pane front, our artistic rendering of ScarJo on the side, and a different artistic rendering of her on the back. At least they gave us two with her. Everyone else only gets one.
Everybody gets one.
Maybe someone just really likes strong Scarlett Johansson. That might be my guess. We've got the same Black Widow backing. The other leg for this behemoth of a figure that's coming together here. And a Black Widow figure. Oh! Hell yes! Hell yes! You guys. Oh. When you see what I'm talking about, you are going to be hopefully as happy as I am. So we've got her stun batons, which this is the first time since the Amazon exclusive Age of Ultron 4-pack that we got the stun batons that weren't the big, long stun baton that made into a stun stack. So that's exciting. We've got another set of pistols here, which have Hulksters. Yes! We have two punching fists here. I am never going to use those with this figure. But, well, we've got them right here. Might as well let you guys know that these have the standard in and out wrist articulation. I'm not sure. I might actually use these if I use the blue bits that came with the deluxe figure to make her zapping. Actually, this might be the figure I use for my big New York setup I'm going to be doing soon. In which case, I will indeed use those punching hands so I can have her zapping the bejesus out of a Chitauri. You know what? I'm not even going to put that box fully back together in case I do want to get those hands on her. You guys, why I said, oh hell yes like that. Why I was so happy with this figure. So, we've got our pistols. We have twin thigh Hulksters, twin thigh drops for both of her pistols. Alright. That's cool. On her back, right here by her hair, if you guys see this, it's a backpack with two holes at the top that her hair happens to go right in between. So you could take her stun batons and actually store them on her person. That's awesome. That is so cool. You guys, I love that. We've got the twin stun batons that can actually be sheathed into the back. We've got the twin Hulksters on the thighs that can actually hold the two guns. This makes me so happy. She can hold all of her weapons all at once without needing to use her hands. Oh, that's cool. Well done, Hasbro.
Well done.
That's awesome. Let's get into our articulation, shall we? For our neck articulation. Okay, well, you guys gave her the standard. Wow. She can look so far down. Why didn't you guys do this with Yelena? Look at that. That's amazing. She can't really look up too well. She's got too much hair back here, and it's interfering with the backpack. It's not a bad Scarlett Johansson face, but the deluxe edition one has a much better face, if I'm being honest. For our shoulder articulation, she's getting about a T-pose. Not much more, but about a T-pose. She's got a little bit too much armor here on the shoulder, if you can see, to go much higher. She only has these single jointed elbows, but they go at enough of an angle to actually be able to do what they should do. Especially since her wrists here have the up and down wrist articulation. She can actually grip the batons here as she's trying to pull it out. That's cool. Since it's got the up and down sword cut, she can actually go to grab the batons like this, and that's cool. That does make me happy. That's a cool thing. She only has a waist swivel, which gives her a little bit of side to side. Only so far forward. An alright degree back. She's better than Yelena, not quite as good as the deluxe edition. We've got no waist cut for our hip articulation. She's going much better than much better than Spy Master, that's for sure. She's got a decent range of articulation there. We of course have the thigh cut. For our double jointed knees, much like with Yelena, they can go pretty... Actually, Yelena's can go a little bit further back, and that's because there's a little bit of flash inside of there. I'm sure I could cut that down if I so chose to. I may in the future. To make it so it can go all the way back. We do not have a boot cut, even with separate boots on her. A little bit disappointing. For our ankle articulation, we've got the rocker ankles, and these are going a full 360. Which is just... that must be horrendously painful, but that's some decent articulation. Can go really far forward. Like, really far forward. Look at that. That is extraordinarily far forward. And all the way on point back. As far as how tall this figure is, ScarJo is coming in at just under 6 inches as well. She's just above 5 3/4, meaning she's actually shorter than Spy Master. I'm not sure if she's shorter than or the same height as... Actually, she almost looks to be the same height, if not a little bit taller, than her giraffe neck friend here. And of course, she is dwarfed by Crossbones. Like, a full head and a half shorter than Crossbones. So, what do I think of this figure? Well, Hasbro, you need to start doing some things for your females, namely double jointed elbows, an ab crunch to go with that ab swivel. But aside from me being a broken record about those things, this is a really cool figure. I like the backpack. I like the fact that you can store the batons on the back. I like the fact that the guns can be stored on the sides. I've got a lot of options that I can do with this figure for making some great photos. Hasbro, you did good enough with a female figure. Am I going to tell you that you did great? No, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to your face and tell you, oh, you did great. I'm going to put that on the fridge. No. No, I'm not going to lie to you like that. It still has issues. But it is one of your better female Marvel Legends. So, take solace in that. It is fun. It's fun. She's fun. She's got a lot of posability. She's got a lot of things I can do with her. Not sure if she's going to be it or if the original Black Widow figure that you guys did with Captain America the First Avenger is going to be the one in my Battle for New York display, but this one's really making me want it to be her because she is fun. She's a fun figure. I love the usable Hulksters. I love the usable sheaths. She's a 7. She's a 7. She could definitely be improved. But she is thus far the best figure of this wave. And that's saying something, because I was really looking forward to Crossbones, and she made me much happier than even he did. If he had Hulksters for those Nerf guns, maybe he'd have even been better. Or a minigun. She is my favorite figure thus far. However, we do have 2 more figures to do. So, let's get into them, shall we? Our next figure, of course, with our last one being MCU, is comic book, and it's Bucky. It's Bucky. Now, we saw Bucky Cap mold earlier, but this is just Bucky himself. So, the comic book version of Bucky the Winter Soldier is here. Let's see what we've got, shall we? We, of course, have our window pane front, our artistic rendering of Bucky on the side and on the back, and our complete run of the figures there. We have the Crimson Dynamo head, which means with this piece, our Build-A-Figure is ready to be built. But you're gonna have to stick around for that. We're not just gonna give it to you. You're gonna have to stick around. We of course have Bucky himself here. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What?
NANI?
We'll get into what's perplexing me in just a second, chat. The backing on Bucky was, of course, the same one that we had on the other 3 comic book figures of just the various comic book icons. We've seen throughout. Now, y'all, I have something to say. So, we've got Bucky. Yay! It's comic book Bucky. Yay! Remember how I said before Bucky Cap had pouches and he had a removable, or he had a usable Hulkster? He had one for both his knife, it was on the back here, and for his gun. Well, we've got a gun. Not sure if it's a 9mm or a 45, but it's a more realistic gun than we've seen with most of our characters, minus the 2 widows. And it doesn't even go in over here. It looks like it should, But no, we have one of the many old pouch belts from other characters that we've seen with the built-in knife, the built-in gun, the built-in extra rounds for the assault rifle here with its underbarrel grenade launcher. But none of these are actually usable Hulksters on Bucky Barnes. Hasbro, you really make me want to drink sometimes. Especially, you guys are calling this the Winter Soldier. Why does he have the Captain America logo on his arm then? Because when he was the Winter Soldier, it was a red star. This is not a red star for the Soviet Union. This is the Captain America logo. The hell, Hasbro. You guys gave us pretty much this same figure ages ago with a different Black Widow as a Toys R Us exclusive 2-pack. With two different heads, mind you. You all right there, Bucky? So apparently we're gonna have some giraffe neck going on with him too. The normal 2-pack of that had this star. The variant 2-pack had the red star and a gray-suited Widow. They both came with two different heads, Widow and Winter Soldier. But, this, having very few improvements from that, doesn't even have the correct arm decal. Oh, Hasbro. Let's get into the articulation on this figure, shall we? For our neck articulation, he's looking down an alright amount. Looking back, an okay amount. Again, we've got the old ball peg style of head here. Where there is a peg that's independent in here. Lets him move his head like this in weird ways. Some kind of turkey neck it back and forth. But doesn't let him really look down all the way or look up all the way. And much like with Yelena, gives him a little bit of that giraffe neck. It's not too bad. It's not nearly as bad as it is on her, but it's still not good. For his shoulder articulation, it's better than a T-pose. We, of course, have those bicep swivels. Our double-jointed elbows. Ah, Bucky, you were so close. You were so close to giving it to us. Maybe your robot hand can give us... Nope. We're not going to get it. Well, that stinks. I was really hoping to have at least one of those today. Well, we did. But not with who we expected. We've got the standard in and out wrist articulation. He's got a watch. If anyone was looking for him to have a watch, he's got one. It's the same watch that we had with Luke Cage, since it's the only watch that they've made, really. And also the standard in and out wrist articulation on this hand. For our ab crunch, that's all he's moving forward. That's it. That's all the forward ab articulation we're getting is there. And for backward, that's it. Not a whole hell of a lot. That's why I'm feeling like this is probably just straight mold reuse of that Toys R Us 2-pack. We do have the waist cut. And you can see there's actually another belt underneath that belt there. So it's obvious that these pants are a reuse. I believe they're reuse of the Punisher pants that we've seen. Actually, yes, based on the bottoms of the boots, his lower torso is all the Netflix Punisher. Or his lower half, not his lower torso. But his lower half of his body is all the Netflix Punisher. Slash the Nick Fury from the Walmart exclusive 2-pack. For our hip articulation, a decently wide range of motion. We of course have the thigh cut. For our double jointed knees, he can actually go back incredibly well. I think he might even be able to go back a little bit more, but there is some flash here in the knee, keeping him from doing so. He does not have boot cuts, but he does have the rocker ankles, which can go a disturbing degree in, a painful degree out, a slight degree forward, and all the way on point back. As for what height we're coming in at, Bucky here. Who the hell is Bucky?
Who the hell is Bucky?
He's coming in at just under 6.5 inches. So he is going to be taller than Spy Master. He is going to be half an inch taller than Yelena and Natasha. And he is going to be ever so slightly shorter than Crossbones. So, what do I think of this figure? I think it's lazy. I think that people have been clamoring for a comic book Bucky Barnes for a long time. Because that 2-pack that was the Toys R Us exclusive was super hard to find. And I feel like we got gypped. I feel like we straight up got gypped. All the good that they did with making it so that there were bits and pieces that could be stored with Yelena, with Natasha, that all got undone with this figure. Which is just some lazy reuse of the legs. The upper torso, it's obvious that it's old technology like that 2-pack was. It's a lazy reuse of the belts, both the Punisher one here and the... I forget how many characters have had this belt in particular. I think the Punishers even had that one. And without even being able to put the pistol into it, it's just kind of lazy. He's a 5. He's a 5. He's cool having a comic book Bucky Barnes, but he's not good. He definitely has a long way to go before it's a good figure of him. And that's sad. Now, we do have our complete Build-A-Figure over here, but we're not done with our wave. No, we are not. Oh, no. Oh, no, dear viewer. We're not done with you yet. Because we have one more figure in this wave that does not have a Build-A-Figure piece. But he's one I'm kind of excited about. I hope you are too. So, our last figure in today's wave is, I've had him on the mind all day, Taskmaster. Now, this is the MCU Taskmaster, not the comic book one. But I'm interested to see what we've got here. So, let's get into it, shall we? We've, of course, got our window pane front, our artistic rendering of him on the side, and a different artistic rendering on the back, which is always nice. The complete series of figures in the wave, which are all down here and all over here, plus our build figure sitting here waiting for us. Inside, Tasky is making me happy. The backing of this is the same as we've had with all of the other MCU figures for the Black Widow movie. Just the silver Black Widow logo. But inside of here, look at all this stuff. We've got a shield. We've got a sword. We've got a bow. We've got an arrow for the bow. We've got 2 extra sets of hands. And we've got Taskmaster, him or her self. The 2 extra sets of hands, one of them is Panther Claws. And the other set we have a gripping hand and a trigger hand. So we're going to have a lot to go over with this figure. Now, unlike with our Widows, we do not have any places on this figure for storing equipment, which is a massive oversight, as the shield has both the, much like Red Guardians, even though it's a much smaller shield, it's got the clip for use, and it's got the peg for storage. Where's the peg for storage? There is no hole for the peg for storage on this figure. There's also no sheath for the sword to go along with the peg for storage. That kind of sucks. The bow and arrow, though, does have a nice thing where you can actually clip in the arrow to the bow. Now, it does not have a, it's got a plastic bowstring, so you can't really have, I guess you can have the figure kind of pull it back, but it can't really pull it back. Not the way it should. But let's get into our articulation, shall we? For our neck articulation, looks like we're not going to be doing too much with our neck articulation. The hood here is just, it's making it so that that is our forward neck articulation, that is our back. That's really it. If we could remove the hood, I'm sure we could get some further articulation here, but unfortunately it is not a removable hood. Even pushing the hood off to the sides, there's a bit of a scarf underneath the neck here, making it so that you can't really push that forward at all. I will give them credit for the really nice paint job on the ski glasses part of the mask, and some of the plastic here is really nice as well. It's got that same feeling as some of the newer Iron Man figures, where it's a very smooth, very shiny plastic, so that's kind of nice. For our shoulder articulation, we're getting about a T-pose out of him. Now, do we have... No? No, we don't. Oh, well, that's... Wait, we do! We do have butterfly shoulders. They are just really, really stiff, and they really don't want to move. We do actually have some very, very stiff butterfly shoulders here. So that's a nice thing to include. We do have the bicep swivels. The double jointed elbows. Which, you know what? I'll call that. I'll call that. That's close enough for me. It should be close enough for you guys. I'll call that good flex. All right. All right, I'll take it. I'll take it. As for our hand articulation, for the punching fists, it is the in and out wrist articulation. And it actually looks like that's the case on all of the extra hands. It's just the standard in and out wrist articulation. For our ab crunch, can actually go a great degree forward. And an alright degree back. The backpack here is making it so you can't go too much further. It's weird that the scarf is kind of here, but it just kind of ends. I feel like there should be something more here on the back, but what have you. We do have a waist cut, which is nice. We've got the hip articulation, which gives us a pretty... Actually, I think that might be our best range of motion today. Alright, I'll take it. We've, of course, got the thigh cuts. Our double jointed knees, which can go almost all the way back. Not quite, but almost. No boot cuts, even though the boots are clearly separate pieces. Brings the question, why not? For our ankle articulation, we can go a disturbing degree in, a painful degree out, an alright degree forward, and can go pretty much on point back. As for how tall our Taskmaster is coming in at, he or she is coming in at just over 6 inches tall. Meaning that Taskmaster is about the same height as Spymaster, is slightly taller than Yelena or Natasha, and of course is smaller than Crossbones. All in all, what do I think of this figure? Chat, I'm gonna be honest with you. I am. I was really excited for this figure. I was. I really wanted good things. I really wanted this figure to be everything that I wanted and so much more. And it failed. It failed at that. It's subpar. If we had a peg in the back for the shield, maybe it would be better. If we had a place to store the sword, a sheath, if you will, maybe it'd be better. If we had some sword cut hands to make it so that the sword was a little bit better used. It might be better. As is, I prefer the version from the Gamerverse over this. I mean the Spider-Man PS4 Gamerverse. / hopefully the upcoming Avengers game. It's a 6. It's a 6. I like that it's got some cool accessories. It's the first time we've gotten Taskmaster with a bow, I think, ever. And that's going back to the ToyBiz days, because I've gotten every Taskmaster, because I'm a big fan of Tasky. So it's the first time we got a bow. That's cool. I gave the original one Master Splinter's bow, so I wasn't that worried about it. We've got a trigger hand, but no gun. We know that Hasbro can do the knocking an arrow hand for the bow and arrow. They didn't include it. We've got the panther hands, but only so much articulation to even use them, and the sword and shield, they're just kind of weak. I was honestly hoping that Tasky was going to be the one to finish this wave strong, and he wasn't. Or she, if rumors are to be believed. He wasn't. I really wish that it was a better figure. So far, since we've gone through all of these standard figures of the wave, the figure of the wave, our figure to get today, Black Widow herself. She was my favorite figure. With the ability to store all of her weapons on her person, a pretty good Scarlett Johansson face. Is it as good as the deluxe? Personally, no, but I might just be biased as well, because I really did like that deluxe one's head. It was great. The others, all pretty disappointing. You know, our highest rated figure today was a 7, and that was our figure to get. Oof, that's a little bit rough. But we've done all of our standard figures for the day, which means it's time for it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's build that figure, shall we? So we've got our head, our... I'm trying to figure out which leg goes where. I think it's like this. Our legs, and, of course, our arms. So let's build from the bottom up, because I'm weird like that. I like doing that as I build my Build-A-Figures. I'm putting these legs on correctly, right? Am I not putting the legs on right? No, I am. Ooh, they just do not want to pop on is the problem. Because I have heard from the chat, you guys prefer to see it when we put together the Build-A-Figures on stream, so we are going to do just that. We're going to pop in our arms. Now, is this the Crimson Dynamo everybody knows and loves? Not necessarily. But I must say, he is pretty darn cool. And he is, and say it with me, kids, he is a big, beefy boy. Oh, yes, he is. He is quite the big, beefy boy. be fair, he's not quite as big and beefy as I thought he was going to be, but he's got some heft. This figure's got some heft to him. So, I'm still already pretty happy with him. Let's get into the articulation, shall we? For our neck articulation. Actually, that's looking down decently well. Oh, and it goes even further. Alright. He can... If his head doesn't pop off on me, he can look up fairly well. I'm not going to say he's looking up great. But our red giant here is looking up decently well. For our shoulder articulation, we're getting a T-pose out of him. We're getting a T-pose. We do have the bicep swivels. The single jointed elbows, which are... Look at that. That's not even getting a full 90. That's not even getting a full 90 degrees. Oof. We've got these cool semi-translucent gauntlets here. But our hands are just the standard in and out wrist articulation. He's got a ab swivel that lets him go so far forward and back, or side to side rather, and this far forward, this far back. Let's get that arm out of the way so that you can see really how far back he's going and how far forward he's going. It's not tremendous, but it's alright. One of our shoulder pads decided to pop out as we were moving around the arm. Let's pop that guy back in. For our hip articulation. Now, these are an old style of hips, so I'm assuming it's gonna not do that great. Never mind. It looked closer to the old ToyBiz hips. I was expecting us to get a full-on split. Oof. We, of course, have the thigh cut, as it is where we put on the leg. So, of course it's there. We've got the double-jointed knees. Ooh, Crimson Dynamo. Buddy, you gotta go back to physical therapy. That's not getting you out of that knee surgery. Nah, man. Your knee replacement, it's not going so good. For our rocker ankles, that's as far in as it's going, and that's as far out. That's as far forward, and that's as far back. It feels like they took the Kree Sentry Build-A-Figure and just retooled some bits of it. Might have given us a new torso. But I believe the legs are the exact same. I think the upper arms up to the gauntlets are the same. So it's... man. I was really hoping I was going to enjoy that more. As for our height, he is measuring in at 7.5 inches. Crimson Dynamo here, coming in at 7.5 inches. So, he is the first figure of the day, and reasonably he should be towering over Crossbones. And he absolutely towers over both Yelena and Natasha. And that is a very, very tiny figure comparatively. Now, I'm going to be dead honest with you guys. If you think Crimson Dynamo here is going to be spending any time with Yelena and Natasha, you are dead wrong. He's going to be spending most of his time fighting Iron Man. Because that's pretty much what he is. If Red Guardian is the Soviet version of Captain America, then Crimson Dynamo is the Soviet version of Iron Man. But, as we can see, that does it for today. That is all 7 figures from the Black Widow movie line of action figures. plus build to figure. For a total of 8 figures here. What do I think of the wave? Best I got. Red Guardian really needs that extra head and some extra hands. Yelena, why the giraffe neck? And maybe a place to put that second gun would be great. Crossbones, I love you, buddy. Why the Nerf guns, 1? 2, why no place to put them? And then the weird space guns. Standard reuse of a Bucky cap body, I don't care. Actual Bucky, pretty much just straight reuse too, and not even very creative reuse. Taskmaster, man, you had some bad decisions made with you. For a figure I was really looking forward to. For a villain I've been wanting to come into the MCU for a long time. You've got some bad decisions that were made, man. And Crimson Dynamo, eeks. You're cool. You're a big dude for me to put next to Ironmonger going up against Iron Man. But you're not all that great. And that sucks to say, because I was looking forward to most of this wave. But that's it. That's everybody. I don't have anything more for you guys. I do want to thank everyone for joining in, for coming in today, for having some fun. It's nice to get back to an iota of normalcy with everything that's going on in the world. It's been tough for everybody out there. But as you can tell, we have a new setup. That's not going anywhere. This guy's now an affiliate. That's not going anywhere. And we've got more figures coming. We've got already pre-ordered and on their way, hopefully sometime soon, because they've all been delayed due to the global health situation. We've got the Sugarman wave of AOA figures coming. We've got the Gamerverse Abomination wave coming. I'm really looking forward to Leader. Rage on, yeah. Mach 1? Mach 1, yes. Gamerverse Kamala, Gamerverse Iron Man. I can really leave. I didn't even get the Gamerverse Captain America. I'm probably not going to be getting him unless he goes for like $10, because he doesn't have a build-to-figure piece, and I'm not a huge fan of his design. I'm probably not even going to bother. The game for those figures has also been delayed, so that'll come out when it comes out. When is it going to come out? I don't know. It's been delayed, so I don't know. But when we get the next waves of figures in, we'll be sure that you all get to see them live right here. And, of course, make sure that you check out the links. You're already here at the Twitch, so you already know what it's all about here. But the Twitter always lets you know when we're going to be going live here, and sometimes gets you some extra photos, because I feel like being fancy and taking photos of my figures. And of course, that right there, that's the YouTube channel. You can see all of this cut down to a more reasonable amount of time, memed up by my editor, and see him as much as you want to. After all, I'm not taking down my channel anytime soon. In the meantime, though, thank you all so much for joining me. Have a fantastic day. Keep it nerdy. We'll see you later.